The district attorney's office takes a dim view of rape and murder in our city, Mr. Baran. Your defense contends you have diplomatic immunity, but the Russian consulate says you only have limited immunity.
My status protects me from prosecution of any crime committed in the course of my diplomatic mission. I met Miss Trevino in the capacity of a Russian media expert, as a diplomat.
Did you meet Rachel Trevino at the Parkview Regency?
She said she worked there, so we agreed to meet.
And instead you slept with her?
Yes. Women are attracted to me, Miss Carmichael.
Not all of them.
Objection!
Withdrawn. The cane you carry matches the bruise on Ms. Trevino's neck. Did you have it with you during your meeting with her?
I don't know. It's a cane, Miss Carmichael, not a precious diamond. I don't watch it every single minute.
For my daughter, you bastard!
Bailiff, restrain that man! Order! Order!
Someone grab him!
My baby, you murderer! Judgment Day. Hero Dad gets revenge. Taking care of business. Father does what court cannot. American justice. The headlines go on. The people love this guy.
Chavez Trevino. He killed the smug bastard who killed his daughter. Of course they love him.
How the hell did he get a gun into the courtroom?
This is gonna get messy quick. I say we charge him with voluntary manslaughter and let it go.
Abby?
You know what keeps me up at night? What if his aim was off? Just slightly. I wouldn't even be here to answer your question, Jack.
You're right. I'm not setting a precedent for street justice in our courtrooms, despite what the people think they want. Prove it was premeditated. Hit him with murder one.
You got it, boss.
How does your client plead, Ms. Mullins?
Not guilty. Be advised, we're going to mount a diminished capacity defense. The defendant is a Gulf War vet who suffers from chronic post-traumatic stress disorder. We will show that Mr. Trevino was under extreme emotional distress at the time of the shooting and is therefore not eligible for murder one.
Any issues, counselor?
None, Your Honor. Defense has briefed us already. This doesn't change anything. We're moving ahead with murder one. Focus on the premeditation. Can you tell us definitively who shot Alexander Baran?
Without a doubt, the defendant, Chavez Trevino, shot him. I looked to see Mr. Trevino standing up with a smoking gun in his hand. Literally.
And can you identify him for the court?
Sitting right there. That's your shooter.
Please let the record show the detective pointed at the defendant. Detective, how exactly did Mr. Trevino get a gun into the courtroom? Aren't there security measures?
We're still investigating how he breached security. But he claims he stuffed it into his jacket and simply walked through.
How difficult would it have been to get past security?
Mr. Trevino had to avoid metal detectors and checkpoints covering every entrance.
What would it take to get past all that security, Miss Benson?
Forethought, planning, and intelligence. Mr. Trevino had to keep his cool and his wits about him at all times.
actions inconsistent with someone under emotional distress.
In my view, yes.
After the shooting, Mr. Trevino made a voluntary statement to you about why he shot Mr. Baran. True?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said Mr. Baran had to die. He said Mr. Baran was going to claim immunity, escape prosecution, and run back to Russia.
What else did he say?
He said the courts were weak, powerless. He said the only justice he wanted was a death sentence.
So, his motive was less about avenging his daughter's murder and more about exacting the type of justice he wanted to see.
Objection.
Withdrawn. Is there any doubt as to the circumstances of the shooting, Detective?
None. Mr. Trevino shot the defendant in front of witnesses and admitted to the murder afterward. I wish every case was as simple.
Thank you, Detective. Your Honor, the people rest. No further questions for this witness.
Detective Benson, you testified that you saw the defendant, Chavez Trevino, shoot the victim.
No, I testified that I turned around and saw Mr. Trevino with a smoking gun in his hand, about a second after I heard the shots.
So you didn't actually see him do the shooting? Are we supposed to believe you're a relevant eyewitness?
Objection. Argumentative.
Sustained. Ms. Mullins, enough with the rhetoric.
Immediately after the shooting, what did Mr. Trevino look like?
I don't follow you.
Was he composed? Calm?
He was in possession of himself.
Wasn't he yelling out, "My baby, you murdered her"?
He said that, yes.
He was out of his mind with grief. He was coming apart at the seams, and you didn't see it? Really? I don't believe you.
He was upset.
Objection. Argumentative.
Sustained. The defense can save the dramatic storytelling for its own witness.
Is your heart so cold, Detective? Are you such a robot that you can't see another human in distress?
Objection. Badgering.
Ms. Mullins, you are trying my patience. Either ask the detective a legitimate probative question, or sit down.
Let's try this one more time. Was my client, Chavez Trevino, visibly shaken and distressed following the shooting?
Yes.
Did he appear rational, calm?
No.
Was his behavior at that moment consistent with a person in severe emotional distress?
Yes.
So despite any forethought or planning he might have shown previously, the defendant was clearly in distress when he fired his weapon. True? True?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all for this witness, Your Honor.
I just got a message from Cormac. You know the gun we took off Chav Trevino?
Yeah?
It's a ballistics match to the one used in the preppy joggers murder.
The joggers? The two kids who got killed in the park? That was in the 90s.
It was 1998. Me and Lenny Briscoe caught the case, but we ran out of leads and were never able to close it. We got pulled off, actually, and burned the old man's ass pretty good.
Oh, tough break. But, well, then how did Trevino get it?
Yeah, good question, Detective. This case has been on my mind since I got back. Then this falls in my lap. I feel like I owe it to Lenny.
Ray, any way I can help out, I'm in.
Thanks.
Mickey, in the weeks after your sister's murder, how did your dad act?
Crazy. My dad has PTSD again. It all came back. He needs different treatment.
Objection. Mickey Trevino is not a psychiatrist, Your Honor. He's not qualified to diagnose his father.
Sustained. Mr. Trevino, please limit your comments to what you saw.
Tell us the behavior you observed.
He couldn't control his temper. He would like yell when the phone rang or like if a dog was barking 2 miles away. I didn't know what to do. When Rachel was killed, I expected him to be really sad or depressed, but not, not angry.
And this behavior, had you ever seen it before?
No, but my sister did.
Objection. Hearsay. Regrettably, the witness's sister is deceased and can't testify to the truth of this statement.
Sustained. The jury will disregard that last remark.
When?
After he got home from the Gulf War, 1991. Pop had his troubles with the law. A felony assault charge, some other bullshit, some other nonsense.
Did you think he would hurt anyone?
My uncle said he was getting dangerous.
Objection. Hearsay.
Sustained. If your uncle would like to testify, then by all means. However, you may not testify for him.
Do you think your father was in his right mind when he shot Alexander Baran?
No. When my sister got murdered, I tell you, it smashed something deep inside my dad. And the idea that this fat Russian bastard could walk away scot-free because of some technicality? My dad did the world a favor.
Thank you, Mickey. No further questions.
How do you and your father feel about Alexander Baran?
How do we feel? Are you frickin' serious?
Easy, Mr. Trevino.
Sorry, Judge. We hate the man. Alexander Baran is the guy who killed my little sister. My pop said he didn't care what happened to him. He said he would gladly kill Baran so we could go to hell and kill him again. He's a fat cat with an army of lawyers ready to help him weasel out of everything he does. You know this guy. Every day you read about him. Oh, he loves to do the crime, but he does not do the time. Nope, not these boys.
Did your father try to buy a gun a week before the attack?
Yeah, I guess.
Did you try to help sign for it?
Yeah, so what?
Your father was convicted of felony assault in 1992. He's not allowed to have a gun. Did you know about his conviction?
Nah, I didn't know nothing about that. Man's got a right to defend himself.
Actually, when he's a convicted felon, he doesn't. Where did he get the gun he used in court?
I told the cops already. I don't know where he got the gun.
You sure you didn't help him?
I've never seen it before. I didn't even know he had one.
You sure you didn't help him get it? You are under oath, Mr. Trevino.
I did not help him. Pop smuggled it in under his jacket. I don't know how he made it past security, but he did.
Did you ever hear your father threaten to kill Baran?
Hurt? Yes. Kill? No.
That's not true. You just told us your father said he'd like to, quote, kill Baran and go to hell so he could kill him again.
That was like a Just a figure of speech.
Or the truth. Why didn't you get help for your dad?
He seemed rational.
So he was in control? Enough so that you weren't worried?
Yeah, I wasn't worried.
So where's the PTSD?
I guess I didn't see it then.
So maybe he didn't have it.
That's not what I meant. He did.
So why didn't you get him help? Either you saw he was out of control and you did nothing, or you saw nothing.
Hey, there was no way to know what my dad was gonna do. He was crazy. How could I possibly have known it would come to this?
He already had a felony assault in his past, he tried to illegally buy a gun, and he told you he wanted Baran dead. If that was my old man, I'd have been a little worried. You want us to believe your dad just snapped. You say he hated Alexander Baran, knew in his heart Baran was guilty. He tried to buy a gun, but couldn't. So he found one some other way. Then he smuggled it through security, stayed cool until he had a fair shot, and fired an accurate pattern right into his intended victim. Now, Mickey, does that really sound like someone who just suddenly snapped?
Objection!
Withdrawn.
None of this would have happened if people acted right. Rachel writes a nasty blog and this guy Baran kills her. My dad's going out of his mind and his doctor goes on frickin' vacation. Vacation, can you imagine? It ain't right. Everybody fails us and we gotta suffer for it.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Trevino, why did you shoot Alexander Baran?
He murdered my daughter. He was gonna go free. He was going to walk.
Objection. The witness can't know whether Mr. Baran was guilty or whether he would have gone free because he stopped the trial dead.
Sustained.
Can you tell us about Alexander Baran's diplomatic immunity?
I'm not a lawyer, but I know what that means. He just gets to skate. The law says he can run off to Russia.
Objection. Witness stated he wasn't a lawyer. The diplomatic immunity rules are actually very complex, Your Honor. Alexander Baran's status was still under review even at the time of the trial.
Sustained.
Mr. Trevino, can you take us back to 1991 and your experience after the Gulf War?
Yeah, I was a ranger in Iraq. I saw a lot of stuff. When I got back home, I had some trouble settling in.
What kind of trouble?
I was never a violent guy before, but suddenly anything could set me off. I fought all the time. I couldn't sleep. My wife divorced me. I wanted to die.
And what did the Army say?
The doctors said I had PTSD. They said it interfered with my ability to regulate my emotions. So I joined a therapy group. I took meds for a while for the depression, got myself back together.
What might have happened if you hadn't had therapy?
I don't know. Maybe gone crazy, maybe hurt somebody. I might have snapped, like I did that day in court.
Objection. Cause for speculation. Defense is asking the witness to relate an imaginary scenario.
Sustained. Let's focus on reality, Miss Mullins.
But you got yourself back together. You lived a normal life. So what happened recently to bring it all back?
Rachel.
Your daughter was tragically murdered, and the main suspect appeared to you to have diplomatic immunity.
Objection. Objection withdrawn.
She was my beautiful baby girl. He had no right. How could this happen in the 21st century in America? An innocent girl gets killed, the cops pin the blame on this scumbag, and still...
He might walk away.
As a man, as a father, I couldn't let that happen. She looked to me to protect her. All her life, I was a daddy, right? And I failed. And you failed. You didn't protect her when she needed it most. What use is all your legal garbage if you can't put a killer behind bars? So, as a father, it was up to me to put that wrong to right. Because no one else was gonna. Now my baby girl can rest with some kind of dignity.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino. And sorry for your loss.
Mr. Cutter, your witness.
Defense requests a short recess, Your Honor. We wish to confer with the people about a plea deal.
Well, make it quick. We're all on pins and needles.
Mike, Abby, let's not let a grieving father go to jail for the rest of his life. Can we talk deal?
Depends. What are you offering, Christina?
1 year in county plus probation. You give us the time. He doesn't belong in jail.
You're kidding, right? He's a killer. I got the bloodstains on my jacket to prove it.
Here's our counteroffer. Man 1, 10 years in general population, but no parole. You do all the time. Every day of it, Mr. Trevino.
You got yourself a deal, Mike. We'll have the papers drawn up. The people have agreed to a plea and a sentence for the defendant, Your Honor.
Then I thank the jury for their service. Counsel, I will see you at the sentencing hearing on Monday.
Mr. Cutter, Miss Carmichael, I just wanted to say thank you for the deal. I know what I did was wrong, but Rachel was a beautiful person. She was smart. She was going places. She wanted to help the world, make it a better place. But this bastard just walked into her life and ended it all.
And you walked into a courtroom and ended his life.
Why can't the law protect us?
From who? Alexander Baran? Or you?
Ray, thought you'd be out having a drink.
Nah, I'm going through some old files on the Preppy case.
Trying to tie the gun to Trevino?
And coming up cold. I wish Lenny was still around. He was good at this kind of thing.
Well, this ought to cheer you up. Turns out, Mickey Trevino is an HVAC contractor for the city.
Okay.
Guess where he did a midnight repair 24 hours before the Alexander Baran trial?
Superior Court. He snuck the gun into an air duct.
Shall we go have a word with him?